This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
I am Frank Skinner. This is my show, which I do with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I'm going to get that terms and conditions gig if it kills me. OK, let me start off with correspondence. What about that? Good morning to you both, by the way.
Morning, Frank Skinner.
To all our readers out there. I
am Frank Skinner with a bit of a Spartacus vibe earlier.
Yeah.
I am Frank Skinner.
Yeah, I don't know where that... I never know quite what I'm going to say next, which is, I know, very unsettling for the producer.
Part of the fun.
But I like to think I've got some sort of filter. Anyway, I had a letter from Keith. That's all the information I have.
Not our Keith.
No, not our Keith. And he says, Dear Frank and Co., the enclosed is for your information. And he sent me an article from The Guardian singing the praises of classical music. I reckon it's a letter. And it says, for many newspapers, the word music has become synonymous with pop, while the real thing has been tucked away under the heading classical. And it's about the fact that if only it gave such recognition to real music for the rest of the year, meaning classical. And Keith has said, if Mr. Bradbury is correct, and he seems certain that classical is the only real music, then Absolute Radio has been systematically lying to its loyal audience all these years. In view of the magnitude of the problem, you need to contact Mr. Bradbury to try and sort this out. And then he ends with a slightly abusive PS, which I won't read. But yes, it's real music is obviously it's a subjective
absolutely
term.
Yeah.
But I still think we've got the best playlist on
I do.
Blah blah, etc. I also had a lovely card from Matt who said basically the card has got a large picture of a bottle of Pernod on the cover, which used to be my breakfast of choice in the dark years. And many of you will know that I gave up drinking on the 24th of September 1986, which obviously was the 35th anniversary. And he says, Dear Frank, 35 years and you're probably right, you can't go back to the party. And I think, I can't remember what that was about now, but I have a feeling that you can't have the same party twice, basically, in any context.
All right.
Anyone who's thinking of seeing one of their exes tonight, think on. So there's that.
Starting with some sage advice.
Sage advice, as is that what you get from celebrity chefs?
Yes.
Celebrity chefs.
Frank,
What a misnomer. Sorry.
I've been hearing you're a lovely man and a real gentleman.
Really?
I'll just leave you with that thought.
I'm just trying to... It's worrying that I'm desperately trying to think who could have possibly said such a thing.
Yeah.
It was someone at one of your gigs, Dennis, actually, because I know you've been at
it was a graffiti in the Absolute building.
Oh, no, it's not in the toilet. Reading and Brighton.
Okay.
You've had some lovely... It turns out you're very nice to people on the street.
Is that right?
Yes. You're very big with your fans.
That's good, isn't it? Let's just savour that moment.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy with that. Excellent. By the way, I bought some new bathroom scales this week. The bathroom scales I had have lasted me for a long time, and they've finally given in. What does that tell you about lockdown? And I bought some Salters scales. Do you know Salters? Yeah. I bought Salters because I think when they were a Springworks, which is their original role, it was workers from there who formed West Bromwich Albion.
That's it.
Yeah, so it's a good reason for a bit of loyalty.
These aren't... have you gone digital?
They are digital, yes, but what I liked, on the box, in large letters on the front, it says, guaranteed for 15 years. I thought, that should do it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, here's the thing. I was on the motorway the other day, and I when I first started driving, one thing that I remember was what I would call the sort of police car procession. You'd be driving down the motorway at, let's say, 108, 109. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But you'd be driving down the motorway and suddenly the traffic would slow up. I mean, really noticeably, ridiculously slow up. Sometimes right down to the speed limit. And
Goodness me.
Then there'd be a police car and everyone around it. And I used to think, the police think, his life's wonderful. Is everyone observes the speed limit? What a wonderful country we live in. But I don't see that. I don't seem to see that now.
No, but they lurk on the bridges.
Yeah, but I love They Lurk on the Bridges. Be a great title for a movie. But has it gone, the police car procession? Is there less of them on the motorway? What's occurred?
If only we had a motoring correspondent.
Yeah,
I think that is still an alive and well thing. I quite often find people dropping their speed and there's just one police car on the
maybe
in
I
lane
just
one.
I don't notice.
Do you know, I found there is an area in central London, in Regent's Park. There's a lot of police car processions around there, behaviour.
But I think of it as a motorway thing.
Okay.
And also, the terrible embarrassment when you slow down. You go into the slow down, and then it's like motorway maintenance. Or something. I think you shouldn't be allowed. That's impersonating a police officer. I thought that was an offence. I wonder if that's still an offence, by the way.
The temerity of
Peter Falk was arrested.
Was he?
No, but for impersonating a police officer, that'd be brilliant. But I'd like to also, what is a traffic officer? I've seen that on the back of those cars. Now that sounds like someone that you should have to slow down for. And then I'm thinking, should I be slowing down? Should I be overtaking? What is a traffic officer? 8, 12, 15?
Well, Frank, I've seen one character, and he has on the back of his high vis, he wears a high vis tabard on his motorbike, and he has on the back, it says police. So everyone slows down. This is in my local area, and as you get closer, it actually says polite, and then it says notice.
That is clever.
Please reduce your. I know.
That is clever.
Get done for that.
That's impersonating is that impersonating a police polite officer?
Impersonating a motorcycle police officer. That's what he's up to.
No, he hasn't got the moustache. See, that's another thing that's gone. Anyway, this is a war. I'll ask you one more question. No, not on police.
But you had a home in Brighton. Surely the moustache is alive and well.
There was
even the moustache.
Yeah, I would say moustache.
Oh, okay.
Let's call the whole thing Tash. One last question and then I'll move on from this. But there was a van ahead of me. I took a photo of the van because I thought this is one of these things which I don't get. And everyone's going to say, well, you know what that is, you idiot. And it said on the back of the van, cat protected. Now, please tell me that if I broke into that van, there wouldn't be like 6 big ginger Toms in there. Does it mean something technical or something?
Yeah, I think I know what that means.
Go on.
Let's have it as a cliffhanger.
Okay.
Oh, that's
I'm guessing. But
I took a photo because I thought if this bloke is actually using cat-based security, I want some evidence because people will think I've made it up, but we'll see.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I believe we've heard from the outside world.
We have.
We have on several different. I'm gonna read a text that I think may be taking my career into my own hands somewhat.
Oh my goodness!
I'll happily go for it. 597 has texted in. Hi Frank, I note you've taken to making the occasional slobbering noise. After a particularly heavy night, it's making me feel rather bilious. Please desist. That's from Simon of Sudbury. I mean,
sorry
normally
about that.
I wouldn't read that out, but he's been doing that.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, Simon.
No, you've done it to Simon of Sudbury. Simon of Sudbury sounds like a medieval cleric who wrote a book about the bleeding heart of Jesus or something like that.
Oh, yes.
And yes, and if you'll consider the manuscript of Simon of Sudbury.
He's very metal bird in sky.
Yeah,
Simon of Sudbury.
I'm sorry, Simon, it won't happen again.
Yes, it will not happen again, and I do apologise, and I will not be doing that.
Perhaps you'd prefer this.
I find that really funny.
Anyway, sorry, we shouldn't be doing that on breakfast. I'm a beast. I am simply a beast.
We've also had from 20... No, I'm sorry to tantalise you. I'm going to go to 049.
Okay.
It's your lucky day, 049. Traffic officers, who Frank was referring to earlier, you don't have to slow down for them, but you shouldn't be speeding anyway.
No.
They work for highways, deal with obstructions in the road, minor collisions, breakdowns and traffic management. It is an offence not to comply with their instructions, though.
But where do their instructions come from?
Oh, well, you'll find out. Listen to this. 'Tis in the highway code. 'Tis.
Yeah.
It's all gone a bit Simon of Sudbury.
It has. I still don't. I don't see what they're not stopping traffic jams. I can assure you of that, because they still exist. The traffic officers. Well,
maybe
good luck to
what
them.
they're trying to do, though.
Yeah, maybe, but very badly.
Frank,
We
don't
left
start
the world
beef
on-
with the TO.
We
Sorry,
left the
Al.
world on a cliffhanger as to what
Oh,
cats
yes.
protected on
You
the
were
back
gonna
of
tell
the
me
van
what-
that you'd
yeah,
see.
yeah.
I think, and I may be wrong, but I think it means that a pack of cats are protecting that car. No, I'm kidding.
No, you don't think
I
that.
think it means that the catalytic converter is in a sort of difficult to steal fashion, because people steal catalytic converters because I think they might be valuable.
Yeah, I think it's people who just love alliteration.
A litter.
Yeah, they can't leave them
A
alone.
litter is good.
Yeah.
Cat alliteration.
Litter.
Oh, very good. They just fall off me like windfall
I know,
fruit.
darling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got that. I think that's a very good speculation.
It's good, but is it right?
Cat protected. Or, maybe there is... I hadn't thought of the cat. I thought it was being protected by a cat. But it could be that there's a cat in the car that if you try and steal that cat. Because apparently there's a lot of dog stealing now where I...
There are lots of dog stealing
Who
and
does that?
catalytic converter theft. So there's dog stealing and cat theft.
Yeah. There's a theme here, certainly.
Yeah. I recently had to get a new exhaust from the catalytic converter backwards right to the end.
love
that story.
I thought you might. But here's a weird thing. I don't know if this is a Manchester thing, but and I had to speak to several different mechanics and suppliers about this exhaust, and every time I spoke to somebody, they called it an exhaust, and I called it an exhaust.
No, I don't know that.
They
Exhaust.
said, oh yeah, it's going to take a while to get an exhaust.
Oh, that's
And I felt
absolutely
really
gross.
like, am I naive? Am I the one that's saying this wrong?
They've taken the
Should I
word
be saying
exhausted,
exhaust?
haven't they? And they've taken their stress from the word exhausted.
Because they were all in the game, I felt like, oh, they're probably saying it right and I'm saying it wrong. I would like to know if it's meant to be exhaust as a car part.
I thought he was going to say, is this a Manchester thing? That if he says, is there anything going on under the hood? You thought that he was asking if you were stupid or not.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, my child at the moment, who's 9, he is poppy crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody, are you familiar with the poppy? Al sounds
Yes.
like he is.
No.
I'll tell you what they've done, and this is a commercial trick which I've seen before. They take something that people do anyway, that just in the normal world, and then they sort of make a version of it that you buy, like battleships. When I was at school, battleships used to be played with just like a bit of paper and pencils, like Hangman. And now there are games where you press buttons and all that sort of stuff. So someone thought, I don't even have to invent this game. So the poppy is basically the urge to pop bubble wrap made commercially available.
Stop it.
So what happens is you pop these things. Well, they don't make the noise, but you pop them. It's satisfying to pop them, and then you turn it round, and they're all up on the other side where they were down.
Yeah.
It's sort of recyclable bubble wrap.
So the bubble remains intact.
The bubble just moves to the other side, ready to be shoved yet again.
Do you know, I think I'd love that.
Well, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, man.
Well, not for me, because as you know, I forgot to have children.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't encountered them.
I wish I hadn't brought it on. But, well, adults could use them. Adults now do all sorts of very, very
I
childish
do
things.
it, definitely.
I mean, they'll be at the till. They're in the till in like corner shops and stuff at the
Yeah,
moment.
they're rainbow coloured.
Do you remember fidget spinners were a craze? They're like that now.
Yeah, but fidget spinners, they didn't come from something that we did anyway. Someone invented the fidget spinner.
Agreed.
I've been thinking this week there must be something like arm wrestling. Can I make that into a board game where you buy... Do you know what I mean?
They just rip people. It's
You
like,
fit a thing to your forearm maybe, and that tells you who's pushing the hardest or stuff like
did
that.
anyone compensate Albert Pierpoint for the game that was named
Hangman?
after him? Yeah.
No, he got
Yeah.
nothing. No, but you know, the rights was a more as a grey area in those days. He got no money for the saying money for old rope.
No, he didn't.
Albert Pierpoint, by the way, to our new readers, was the national hangman.
The last hangman.
He was the last. We say the last hangman. Last hangman. At this point in time, as we go to press, he was the last hangman.
I would suggest that he might even be a friend of the show.
Yeah, he's been mentioned a lot. He's been
And
mentioned
his
a lot.
great granddaughter, I believe, is a friend of the show.
Certainly, a relative of his used to contact us with Albert Pierpoint updates, which are thin on the ground.
Yeah.
He left us many years ago.
I've got a question for you both.
Question.
We have...
Go on.
Bill has tweeted us
Oh, yeah.
with a picture of Layla Morse's autobiography,
Who is Layla Morse?
Big Mo.
Oh.
I have a challenge for you two.
Yeah.
What did Big Mo, a.k.a. Layla Morse, call her memoir, which is described by the Mirror as extraordinary? Now,
Okay.
extraordinary could go either way.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
That's
I want to know
like
what the full quote is there.
that's like actors going back to see their actor friends after they've seen them in a play and saying, "Well, you've done it again." Yeah. Multiple choice remarks, I would call those.
So the extraordinary,
Is it
make of that what you will,
is
memoir.
it just a Mo?
Alan, what are you going for?
I have a famous brother and everyone mentions it.
Oh, I hope it says that.
It's good, but it's not right. The winner is
Close though.
Frank Skinner. He's nailed it.
Is
It's
it just a Mo?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just a Mo?
hurrah. Fabulous. I love pun-based quizzes. I could do those all day.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I don't know if you remember, but we were recently talking about a texter who described themselves as Simon from Sudbury. I think we riffed about that name.
Yeah, Simon Sudbury,
Yeah. Hi, Frank and team. Simon Sudbury was a medieval bishop who was killed during the Peasants' Revolt.
Oh, wow. 1381?
Oh, thank
Was it really?
impressive
Good
work.
knowledge.
I mean,
Good
of course you
knowledge.
know that. It's your manner.
Simon Sudbury. Oh, God, it's all getting complicated now. So I invented a medieval guy who was a medieval guy.
Can we give him his full name at all times? It's Simon of Sudbury, please.
Yeah, but it sounds like, according to Louise of Somerset,
Louisa Somerset.
Louisa Somerset, as she's known, that it's Simon Sudbury. We'll get to the bottom of the Sudbury thing, but it's all sounding good to me.
Don't know much about the Peasants' Revolt. Respect Amundo for getting the dates.
Well, let's hope I'm right about that.
No.
It was all, it was Wat Tyler and all those.
I can't imagine
What,
anybody would be
Tyler?
churlish enough to correct you if you got it wrong.
I like the idea of churlish to describe the Peasants' Revolt. Hurrah!
I used to
Rather
use that
language.
phrase for a certain type of clothing sometimes. If someone had those
you?
incredibly pointy sort of suede boots, I would say, oh, very peasant's revolt.
Yeah, I know what
It
you
was
mean.
niche material.
There was what they used to call them pixie boots. Remember those ones that sort
Yes.
of... I remember a mate of mine, he, at his 30th birthday, he had a midlife crisis. And he bought pixie boots and started doing press-ups at home.
Oh, he didn't.
And they were...
Here,
Oh, sorry. Oh, God, I forgot he was on the... I can't see Al in pixie boots, can you?
No.
No. Maybe I could see him maybe in a leopard print Og at the weekends, just putting the rubbish out.
I see that as well. I see that, right. A bit of in a Ronnie Wood way.
Yes. Oh, what's here? What I met I met a lady in Somerset. Bringing back the Louisa Somerset theme, and one of her passions was that she rode side saddle. Now, there's a thing I'd sort of forgot existed. In case you don't know this, you used to see ladies, or Edwardian ladies, and instead of straddling the horse, which is an unladylike activity, it was seen so at the time, especially in a big frock, which is what they would just hang on the side like a coat, hanging on the side of a door.
They'd perch. Well, the Queen used to ride side saddle, I
Did
believe.
she
didn't
really?
I'm sure I've seen pictures
I
of her in
wonder,
the early
and
days.
she now straddles the Queen.
Oh,
does
she straddles.
Does she
both of
really?
these might just be gossip, but let's move on.
And I wasn't sure how it worked. It turns out, are you familiar with the side saddle? It's got like
Side
a
saddle.
big. It's got like a big pommel, pommel, which is like a hook, and you hook your sort of knee of onto your right leg, and you sort of just hang on the side with a stirrup for support. So you really are on the side of the horse, which is much better for... I don't know if you've ever been photographed head on a horse, but often you're peering around the horse's head. This one, you get a nice landscape two-shot of the pair.
It's a sort of two fat hairy bikers vibe. It's sort of pillion.
Yeah, a bit like a sidecar.
Lovely.
I
Like
think.
those chefs, Clarissa and...
Yeah.
what were they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's who I meant, actually. I was getting my chefs muddled up.
Yes. What did you call them? The hairy
I called them the
bikers?
hairy bikers.
That's a bit personal. They were actually called two fat ladies, which of course wasn't at all personal. Yes, I'm thinking that if I have another crack at two hairy bikers, another crack at that, I think I might try the side saddle. I'll tell you what they'd be brilliant for. You know, in westerns where they hide behind the horse, you know that you stampede the horses and you hang off the side of it so they don't know you're on the other side. You know that
It's very clever,
trope, that western trope. Oh, I'd love that. So, if there's any side saddlers out there, we'd love to hear from you. I just think it's a fairly minimalist activity.
I don't
Probably
know.
seen as a bit non-feminist, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, I'm in my own non-feminist way. I'm happy to do it as a man. Side saddle, it's great. Just hanging off it like that, like it's got some sort of terrible growth, equine growth. Has that thing got an equine growth? No, I think it's the ageing comedian Frank Skinner. Oh God, so is his.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Do you want to hear what some of our loyal readers have been saying?
Of course, always.
First up, Clive Silas, who you may recall,
regular.
one of our regulars. Clive Silas heard you nailing the Layla Morse book title,
which was Just a Mo.
Clive says, I'm on a delay, so I saw this before it came up on the show. When Frank got it right first time, I pumped my fist and cheered.
That is brilliant.
Thank
Tim
you, Clive.
Henman style, maybe.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support. Did Tim Henman used to punch the air and cheer? I don't know if he ever got to that point.
Then we also have some side saddle correspondence.
Let me give you a bit of a theme tune for this.
Okay.
Here we go. I'm playing this off my phone if it sounds a bit rubbish. Go on, you can read.
Sassy Hardwick says, look up Callie Coles on Instagram. She rides side saddle. Also, Susan Oakes on Insta. She beat the world record highest jump side saddle. There's a resurgence.
Oh, there's a resurgence. Well, they actually do. They do. That was, by the way, that was side saddle. Saddle, not side saddle. That's sorry. That was something from that's one of my diary entries. Side saddle by Ross Conway. Now, Ross Conway was the sort of British Liberace, but without the glitter.
Was he?
So it was a thing that's sort of disappeared now. People that just play piano instrumentals. Do you remember those guys?
Oh, yeah.
Like Bobby Crush, Mrs. Mills.
So
There was actually a woman who was known only professionally as Mrs. Mills. I mean, how fantastic! And she played the Pot Black theme, which was Pot Black was the first TV snooker thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, that piece there sounded rather snookery.
Yeah.
I think she also went into publishing with Boone, the TV detective.
Yeah.
TV Spoon? Do you mean TV Spoon?
She did musical whoddonnits. Yeah. Oh, man. Can you imagine a situation where someone is called Mrs. Mills? That's their professional name.
I love that. I love it. So, yes, there's a side saddle resurgence, and I think, is it something to do with Downton Abbey as well? Because I think the ladies do favour a side saddle in that.
The fact that they are jumping high fences, though, while sort of hanging off the side of the horse. I suppose it's easier to jump off if things are going wrong. If you were in warfare and you had a horse with a detonator noseband, you could ride into the enemy and then at the last minute jump off side saddle and the horse would go in and explode into their...
I'll bear that in mind, thanks.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
great.
it's a
Great job for the horse.
No, it's a rubbish job for the horse. I wish I hadn't suggested it. But, as it says on the monument on Park Lane, they had no choice. There you go. So... oh, man.
God.
Why is it all right to point that out in a public place? That's something that should be in... that should be one of those things that's in like a secret file, something at MI5. They had no choice. Don't put it on a monument, you fools. That's top secret. What happened to the secrets? What's the Secrets Act called?
Official Secrets Act.
The Official Secrets Act about the fact that they had no choice.
We all know about Laika, but we don't talk about it.
No, Laika, in case you don't know, was the dog that the Soviets sent into space. Which perished.
It was the original. She had no choice.
Perished.
She thought she'd won a special competition.
Yeah, well, in an rare act of Soviet kindness, what they did was they left the window open an inch so she didn't get too hot, which in space, of course, is a major tactical error.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Have we had any responses to Does the Queen Still Straddle 8, 12, 15, which was we're trying to find out whether she still does she still side saddle or has she gone a bit more 21st century? I mean, does she still? I'm trying to think if I've seen her on horseback for a while because she used to be a regular.
Trooping the colour was very much her thing.
But is she not still doing that in the 90s?
She does ride. What's it called when you ride the cowboy style? I presume in private life because I've seen photographs of that on Sandringham, etc.
Trooping the colour now, I just think she's on an upholstered rocking horse.
Oh, that would be
nice.
lovely.
That would be nice for her. I'd love that. Maybe just she arrives like in the yellow coat and all that, but with one of those horses with just like a head on a stick with a little wheel at the back. What they call hobby horses. That'd be brilliant.
We were talking about Laika, and I was saying to
Laika is the Soviet space dog, not I kissed a girl and I like her.
And there were 3 dogs, I remember. It was very cruel because it was sort of a, you're the winner It was a bit of an X Factor thing. They made Leica feel it was like a competition winner.
Oh, was it like that?
Yeah, there was two other dogs, Mushka
Locate
and
yourself a problem like Maria. Do you remember that TV programme? Yeah.
Exactly like that. In fact, I don't know, the Russian equivalent of Graham Norton presented it.
Yeah.
And Mushka and Albina were the other two. There were three in total. And Leica won. But did she win?
Yeah, exactly. Every loser wins, and as I think Nick Berry said.
Nick Berry, yeah.
I think there were other dogs that went up as well, and several apes. I mean, they were, they were apes.
Do you think that there was two of each of those? In fact, it was just a massive arc that they...
I don't think it was that. I think they would have been cruel. I think they knew Leica wasn't going to... The idea there'd been an accident, Leica wasn't coming back, they knew. I think Leica, if I remember rightly, the name, Laika, if I remember the spelling, means something like stray dog. It's not some lovely, affectionate thing.
No.
I think they just found the dog in the street and thought, we'll fire this into space, see what happens. We've all done it.
What else were they going to do? Actually, don't answer that.
No, don't answer that. By the way, Richard Clayderman, I was thinking of people who just play piano. That's their act. And I don't mean like, Lang Lang. I mean like in the popular arena.
Oh,
I don't mean real music, like Lang Lang, as a bloke was saying earlier.
Classical music is real music.
Exactly.
Richard Clayderman, he had the sort of yellow curtain hair, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
And very popular with the mums.
Was he really? I don't
the
remember.
mums
If
loved
you
him.
said to me, whistle a Clayderman, I would struggle, to be honest. But I'm right that he didn't sing or anything, he just played piano.
He was the
he
sort
wasn't
of...
like a Jamie Cullum or a Billy Joel.
No, he wasn't a Billy Joel.
But he was the sort of...
Can I say that Al insists on saying Billy Joel instead of Billy Joel, which is, I think, is an American thing, which is not very Al, but he will not give in on this one.
We were
I think
discussing
of it
him
as a
this
Scottish
morning.
thing.
We mentioned him this morning because I objected to one of his lyrics, retrospectively.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But I just thought, I didn't like the sound of him when he said, I don't want clever conversation.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Which, of course, is an extract from the BBC when they decided not to employ me anymore. Yes, well, I don't want clever conversation. He's sort of saying to her, isn't he? I'm happy with the fact that you look amazing. I don't really need clever conversation.
Don't get any of your fancy ideas.
I don't want any clever conversation. I don't want to work that hard, is what he says. Oh, come on. Goodness. I mean, so obviously he was mainly concerned on producing children. He didn't want to be the last Joel. The last Joel, the end. Yeah. Billy Joe Spears must have been. That must be confusing. Billy Joel and Billy Joe Spears. And one was... Do you know Billy Joe Spears? No, but thanks for the tip.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I had a parcel come, and I think this is not coincidence. I think it's because it's the anniversary of me stopping drinking this week, 35 years. Still counting. But thank you very much. And it's they've sent me a box of non-alcoholic wine, which is called Pierre Zero. Which I'm kind of thinking, if ever I check into a hotel and want a false name, Pierre Zero is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
Is it what's it a pun?
I don't think it's a pun on anything. It's because it's got zero alcohol and it's called Pierre.
I thought it was a pun like year zero, like revision, so you're starting afresh.
Pierre. You have to say like a Pierre Zero.
Yeah, you're starting again.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is, and I hate the very concept of me missing a pun, but maybe you're right. By the way, a lot of people have mentioned Winifred Atwell was another one of those solo piano players. We've just had a debate off air about Bobby Crush. Bobby Crush, in my memory, was a sort of, I guess, a kind of an 80s piano player. And Emily Anna, I think he was a comic, and I think he was a sort of bloke who hadn't got a comic bone in his whole body.
Well, that's never stopped some people, as we know. I think he would have described... I think he would have been a self-styled musical comedian.
I'll tell you why I think I'm confident on this. When I was at...
Like Tim Minchin.
No.
No.
He was more sort of sparkly.
No eyeshadow on Bobby Crush.
No
really.
eyeshadow.
Bobby Crush.
No Simon of Sudbury
I'll tell you-
medieval suede boots.
This is how I went to the screening, to the actual recording of a Sky talent show when Sky first started, and he was a judge. And there was a young girl about 15 who sang beautifully, and he said to her, "I wouldn't be wearing that dress with those hips." That's what he said to her. And I thought, "You are a terrible man." And she started crying. And my other Bobby Crush memory is that I played that game when you put a yellow sticky on your forehead with Elton John, and the name on his sticky was Bobby Crush. That's why I think he was a piano player. I don't think honestly, there was no comedy in Bobby Crush.
I thought his name, Crush, was like he was a heartthrob. People would be having a crush on him, but now I realise it was his
Crushing
judgment of other people.
He crushed
Exactly.
people's
Crushed dreams.
He did.
Yeah.
Imagine saying that now on
Bobby
television.
Crusher of Dreams,
Yeah.
I'll call him from now
So,
on.
yes, Roger
Will
Turner.
you promise me you'll call him that
Yeah,
every time he
yeah.
comes up? Okay.
Definitely will.
Okay.
And if anyone can confirm whether, I would bow to you in this area, Frank. So possibly this is an aberration.
Bobby Crush Sans Comédie.
Okay. I'm going to let you have it if it's correct. Roger Turner, yes, he mentioned Winifred Atwell. He was saying she was huge in the 50s and 60s. Yes, all right, Roger, we know.
Yeah.
He's
What?
done a bit of a Bobby Crush.
I see. Why?
Yes,
Oh, because she was a big...
yes.
Yeah, but no one cared. Then if you had the talent, that was a brilliant thing about it. Go on.
And 906 has texted Laika. We've been discussing the first dog in space.
Soviet space dog Laika.
Yeah.
Laika gets a well-deserved mention on Divine Comedy's Absent Friends.
Oh, lovely.
And Jamie Wood has got in touch to say Laika comes from Russian for bark.
Well, it's even less of a personal thing. They knew it would bark into the abyss. It was what they knew.
Well, Jamie said because she barked a lot, as you might when you find out you're going to get shot into
It's a
space.
one-way ticket.
I think a lot of them bark quite a lot when they're on fire. It's I think it's like a Pavlovian thing that happens. They don't need any training. Yes, they're on fire, they bark. It's just an instinctive thing that they've learned from when fire was first invented in the very early dog.
Why didn't they just call her help?
Dog development. Yeah. Yes. Poor Laika. But her name lives on. I believe she's got a statue at that Space City place in.
We've got some Crush news as well coming up after this.
Crush news. Shall
Keep people on tenterhooks.
Yeah, let's keep them on tenterhooks. We'll delay the Bobby Crush news. When I say delay, I mean by about 40 years.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Okay, Crush news.
Wow. I don't quite know what to make of this because your theory is confirmed, Frank, by a number of people. Paul Crowcroft, Bobby Crush, yes, he was a piano player. He was a product of Opportunity Knocks in the 70s.
You think he'd know better than to be nasty on a talent show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Palmer, Frank and Friends. Oh, I like Frank and Friends. It's very rainbow.
Yeah.
Oh, Bagsy B. Bungle. It says again, Bobby Crush first came to public attention after 6 winning appearances on the talent show Opportunity Knocks in 1972.
6?
Which is great. What it doesn't clarify, though, is whether Crush attempted comedy.
No way. No way.
Really?
Unless it was like, he had a bit of banter with Huey Green. No, but he didn't. It wasn't part of his act.
I mean, I would say, one of the godfathers, if not the godfather of modern comedy, I would bow to you in this area.
Well, that's very good of
However,
Maybe later.
oh,
I'm terribly sorry.
really disgusting. Honestly.
What? Come on.
Also, Brian Fisher has got in touch. Traffic officers are called Wombles where we are in Cheshire.
Why is
Wombles.
I don't know.
Is that they make? Do they make traffic out of terrible wreckage into new cars?
I'd understand if it was, in the MK Dons area.
What happened to do people still do that thing of welding two cars together and then selling them? Do you remember that?
Cut and shunt, I believe.
Was it called a cut and shunt? Wow.
Al, I know that phrase.
I did not know that, but I like the sound of it.
I think there might be a shortage of welders in the country, so that's possibly...
Well, that's global warming.
Yeah.
Oh.
What with all the monkeys now completely fine, the brass monkeys. Well, anyone who gets that, congratulations, and you get a free Absolute Radio sticker. There aren't any Absolute Radio stickers.
Don't make any promises you can't keep.
No, I wish they had stickers, and they don't have photographs of us in a little rack in the foyer. Black and white photos of us with the Absolute.
That was one of the things I was looking forward to most.
Yeah.
Because I always thought, back in the day at Broadcasting House, you'd get a lovely
They still
Jimmy Young.
you can still go there and get a picture of Nimone in black and white. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
I'm saying that. Is she still working? I don't know. But if she is, you'll be able to go there and get a black and white picture. Obviously, Radio 1 and that is a little out of my age bracket, so I don't know who they've got now.
Yeah.
But certainly you'd have got Nimone. That would have been in the rack.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like the things they have when they sell postcards at, say, the National Portrait Gallery.
No, exactly.
But they're free.
Like those. And
they had like the white, the picture was squeezed up a bit, so there was a white band for the autograph you could get at the bottom.
That was like, how many times do you get asked for the autograph instead of the selfie, Frank?
Very rare now. It's dying out completely.
Gone.
But I bet the Doctor Who people like an autograph.
They like an autograph.
No, but it's true, Al. They don't
often
have
with
this.
half an eye on an eBay.
I think I know what you're saying, Emily.
Yeah.
No, they don't have the phones.
No, there's still people who turn up with proper cameras, not phone cameras.
One only last week. It was a charming man, and he had a camera.
Yeah, there's all the traditions run alongside each. There is no past anymore. Since the invention of things like streaming and on demand, everything is present. Chew that over with your Cocoa Pops.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I would like to hark us back, if I may, if that's all right. This might have an air of clearing my own name. I don't know. But
Aye.
do you remember just a week or so ago, there was a little bit of guesswork as to what the noise that was happening on air was. Some people suggested it might be a squeaky chair in the studio. And
Yes.
I believe there are new chairs ordered by...
I believe in a thing called love. Come on.
And I don't think they'll help with the squeak, but...
Are the new chairs ordered? Is that true?
I believe there are new
I
chairs.
forgot that promise. I must say I wasn't at home thinking, wonder if there'll be new chairs this week. But, some people will.
We've had a few correspondents get in touch with the show. One of them, Glenn Maker, Maker.
Mr. Maker.
So close to being Mr. Maker.
Yeah, didn't he contact before Glenn Maker?
He has.
Maybe.
I'm sure he did.
Who says, I think I know what the mysterious...
Glenn Maker. No, she went to her own accord. Sorry.
I think I know what the mysterious squeak is. Listened to podcasts and heard it at 06:14, 11:18 and 11:28 minutes. Very specific.
That reminds me of a Jose Mourinho post-match interview where he said, I say 5 things, 17 minutes, 24 minutes. And they were incidents when he thought the referee had given a decision against him. Sort of post-match interview by numbers.
Sort of insight into what it's like.
Get a bit Jose Mourinho on this.
Go on
now.
He says, I think it's Alan's door hinge. And I'm not calling Alan a door hinge because he's frugal, which I think is some rhyming slang for stinge there.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
No, I think he's making it up.
Okay.
Also, that's from Glenn Maker.
Yeah.
Rob at Rob Mitt says £10.
Just give me 1 minute because I have to do this. It's like I said, I think. Email from Glenn Maker. Email from Glenn Maker. Okay, carry on.
Okay, I'm glad we've got that out.
I just had to.
I think
Rob
that
says
is where...
£10. Go on.
You continue.
Come on, guys.
Rob says £10 says the squeak that's been occurring for a few weeks is a door hinge. Well, I'm going to have Rob's £10 because I'm certain it's a chair.
Okay.
Just for clarity, I mean, I don't know who's going to play me in the film about this miscarriage of injustice.
Okay.
Miscarriage of injustice.
Yes. Well, that was a Freudian slip.
I am in my cellar. There is no door that is being used. It's just
no door
it's
on
just
your
me
cellar?
down here.
Oh, that makes
There
you...
is a door, but it's closed. I'm in a vault. I'm in a broadcasting vault, as far as I'm concerned.
Are you in a panic room?
Ow.
Right.
I don't think you should keep saying cellar. It doesn't show you...
I like it. I'll tell you what I like about it. I like, in a list of things to get indignant about. I know indignation is one of Al's central themes now, but someone accused him of having a squeaky door. It's quite a thing to thump the desk about. How dare you! Don't you know that Al only exclusively has beaded curtains in his home? Even on the exterior doors. That's how hard he is now.
Yeah.
He knows no one will try it.
Yeah.
No, I don't. It's not Al.
It's not Al.
We don't know what it is. I'm thinking it might just be my bones.
I think that as well.
Could be the chair. We have got a squeaky door here, but the producer says we never open the door during a recording.
Well, that's not true.
Never.
I've seen people come and go.
No, it's just, you have to let them have their own way. Just nod, yes.
Is that the follow-up book to Ian Botham's Don't Tell Cat?
Yeah.
You have to let them have their own way.
You know what I mean, though? You got to pick you. got to. It's not a hill I want to die on. The door never opens during a recording hill.
Al, that a hill you want to die on? I suspect it is.
No, I agree.
We're
I think
fine with
it very
that.
rarely is used during the show.
We're fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, the said producer is now giving me the shut up. It's time for a break.
She doesn't want clever conversation.
No, she doesn't want to work that hard.
Oh, come on.
That's Billy Joel, not me. No, I'm saying Joel. Oh, Joel. Joel, was he on Krypton when he exploded? Well done if you got that.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane on Absolute Radio. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Al, can I start off with an email in defence of you? Like the sound of that?
Good. I do like the sound of this. Yeah.
Frank, like the sound of that?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. 923, morning all. Don't be so hard on Al in the way he says Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Go on.
Don't go changing. I've noticed Frank says birthday for birthday.
I don't say that.
You do.
You do. You very much do.
Absolutely
Hang on,
not.
it's my turn now.
Okay.
M always says Spider-Men and Batmen. I do.
Yeah, you do that, but that's your deliberate derision for all things slightly sci-fi or superhero.
That's from Lorna. Lawns,
Okay.
as she calls us.
Thanks, Lorna.
Lawns. Thanks, Lawns.
Now,
Appreciate that.
in the news this week is Oasis frontman Liam Gallagher.
Liam
It's
Gallagher.
not that. I know he's not Oasis front. He'll always be Oasis frontman, won't he?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And
LG as he calls himself.
he's had one of his falls.
Smears. he did have a fall.
Oh, he's got a bit
Fell out of a
adventurous, Nana.
helicopter, didn't he? After the.
Well, there's a bit of a mystery about this, isn't there? There's a picture of Liam on the internet. You know the internet. That Tim Berners-Lee
WWW.
contraption. Yeah, that
World Wide Web.
Yeah, that. There's a picture of him. I have to say, And I was the first to applaud the NHS on Thursday evenings. But if that is the sort of dressing they're putting on people now, then standards have dropped terribly. It was one of the worst dressed wounds I'd ever seen. There was a plaster over his nose, only half of which was stopped down. The rest was just flared upward.
Yeah.
And then there was like white stuff. It looked like, when you have to take the label off an Amazon box before you put it in the recycling, so it hasn't got your name and address on. There's a bit of ripped white. There was like a bit of white sticky on his lip, and I thought, what is that? So I don't know if he had dressing on and then took it off and then put it back on for the picture, but it was awful dressing.
It's got a look of not the professional standards of the NHS, more of fellow drunk mate having a go at dressing.
Exactly.
Rooms,
yeah. Stop at an all-night chemist and we'll get some dressings and say, I'll
just put
sort
some
you
cream
out.
on there. Where there's no problem.
And we should say he claims to have fallen out of... He got the injury from... He said he fell out of a helicopter. We've all done it.
But fell out of a helicopter. There is open to much interpretation, isn't it? Because helicopters are sometimes on the ground. Sometimes they're slightly raised from the ground, and sometimes they are high amongst the clouds. At what point did he fall out of the helicopter?
Well, somebody did ask him on his Smeeds, his social medias, what height the helicopter was at when he fell out of it, and he replied 100,000 feet.
That isn't correct, is it?
Also, I think he's been watching a few too many cartoons where you fall 100,000 feet and end up with a plaster on your
exactly.
nose.
Too much.
I think he's being funny.
Too much Roadrunner
for that.
I once saw a man on Brighton Beach. You know when you see people really spread eagled sunbathe, and it's sort of died out a bit now, but they're really like an X. They're really legs and arms akimbo.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
He was lying like that on the beach, but he had a 3-piece pinstripe suit and a tie and like elastic-sided boots on. And I thought he might have fallen out of a helicopter. Because I couldn't work out, why wouldn't he want sunbathe in a suit? But now I am confused. He can't have dropped from very far, surely.
Well, as our Manchester correspondent, what's your theory, Al?
Well, I have a theory. I think he's a big fan of Clark's original desert boots, and they are an absolute potential death trap, as I think Lynn Folds would have said on that programme. I mean, they're really slippy. Any moisture and you're going over.
You know
like
what?
Bambi on ice.
I like them, but you're right. On a wet pavement, even they are.
I love them, but they come with a health warning, and I think Liam might have had some on, and there was perhaps just a little bit of aqua on the stairs of the chopper, and down he went.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my theory.
Maybe a furry snorkel hood caught in the propeller, and he was swung round and round, banging on the.
You know, he was caught up in the landslide. I mean, I pity the man, frankly.
No, it was
because that's not. He turned it into, in fairness, LG. He turned it into a rock and roll
injury.
He said had a bit of an R&R injury.
But he still looked good. That was the thing about it.
Yeah.
He looked good
Definitely.
with a badly done plaster and some sticky paper on his lip. He still looked good. What a dude he is.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Talking about LG, as you were, Kiss.
Gallagher.
Yeah. And his helicopter injury. So, Frank, I'm getting the impression you think perhaps he tripped over a couple of steps.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was.
I don't think steps were on the bill. It was after the.
No, it was the Isle of Wight Festival, wasn't it?
Lovely.
Thank you.
I mean, I believe there is a way of finding out about this, isn't there? Because we did have representatives at the Isle of Wight Festival. We had Sarah Champion was out there, certainly.
She'll know.
Da-na, da-na-na-na-na, da-da-da. Sorry, that's the Champions theme tune, the popular 1960s TV show. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah.
Alexandra Bastido.
Yes.
Who was one of those people who was so beautiful that it becomes funny. You start laughing at them. You know that? As you see it, and I just think, "Oh, that's just ridiculous," and start laughing. It's a sort of safety measure, I think. Anyway, that's nothing to do with... So she was there, and I think Ben Burrell was out there, was he? Yes, Ben Burrell.
Yeah.
Did is this Absolute Radio's second Ben Burrell? Didn't we have...
So.
When we started at Avalon, wasn't there a Ben Burrell who used to... Absolute. Sorry. I was thinking back to my Arthurian career.
Yes.
When we started at Absolute, wasn't there another Ben Burrell who was a DJ who had a baseball cap and took vitamin?
I think that was a
pills?
different Ben.
His name was Ben.
Ben what?
Ben Jones.
No, that wasn't Ben Jones, was he?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You know this is on air, this bit.
No, God, is this on air? Why didn't you tell me? Sorry, everyone. Well, Sarah Champion was out there with Ben Burrell, so that one of those two will know what the truth of the Liam Gallagher fall off an helicopter
Well, it
thing
may
is.
not, because it may have been post-flight when he was landing.
It'll be
wherever he
festival
lands.
chat, festival gossip, though. It goes around like wildfire.
Well, a fan asked him direct, how did you fall out? Do you know? And LG responded, "You tell me."
I
What
love
does that
you,
mean?
tell
I
me.
was a bit...
Which seems a little unreasonable.
Yeah.
Well, I was on a helicopter
Hang on,
once.
we've got a first-person witness here, but they're refusing to play that role.
Yeah, but Al, what a great cop-out for everything. You tell me. Have you paid your
I'm
tax
gonna
this
use-
year? You tell
I'm gonna
me.
use you tell me for everything now. I love it.
I was on a helicopter once, and the pilot said to me, "That door's not shut properly." Now, you know when you're in a car and you say, "That door's not shut," you just open it a bit and then pull it to again. I don't know if that's what you should do, but that's what
No,
most
you
people
shouldn't,
do.
But yeah, it is what people do.
And I said, and I went, he said, don't do that. I said, I'm just going to, he said, no, I don't do that. He said, what happens if you open that door, something could fly out of the helicopter, a bit of paper or anything that you've got. He said, and if it flies back and it's the back propeller, you know, there's that little one on the tail.
Oh yeah.
He said, if it goes back and damages that, then that little back propeller stops the whole thing spinning. So if you break that, he says the whole helicopter will spin as fast as the top blades are going. I said, I wouldn't like that. He said, no, don't open that door. And we had to land in a field so that we could close the door.
Wowee.
Obviously, it was a big, like, whenever this happens, you land in a big outdoor wedding and smash all the tables and the cake up.
And then they get to tell people Frank Skinner got out of a helicopter at my wedding.
Yeah, exactly. It was like that. It wasn't really a wedding, it was at night. But in films, there's always a big wedding.
Don't let the
at
truth get in the way of a good story.
Well,
Come on.
I think the truth is usually the best story. Good night. No, sorry, we're not going anywhere. I just thought it had to be followed by something profound like that and closure.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
While we're telling our helicopter anecdotes,
Yeah, well, we're trying to piece together what went on with Liam Gallagher and the helicopter.
I've only ever been in a stationary helicopter as a child at some kind of air show. I've never flown helicopter.
I
That's
flew
mine.
to Loose Women.
did you?
Yeah.
Did you indeed?
I heard that about you.
Yeah.
I know, but you're very settled now.
No, when it
Yeah.
was in East Anglia, that's where they used to
yeah.
film it in Norwich, or I think it was Norwich. And I said I was asked to do it, and I said, well, I don't really want to. That's the whole day going to Norwich and back. And they said, we'll supply a helicopter.
They lure you in with the heli.
Yeah. And
Well-
then I made one more demand, which was a car to a Roman Catholic shrine that was nearby.
You didn't.
I did, and which they supplied. Which is that was
That's
good.
nice.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, I don't think they got asked it that often, so they were probably all right with
I
it.
wondered what it was going to be. I thought, was it?
Good to have balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in a
Nice.
helicopter. There was these, but I've been in a few. The scariest helicopter ride I've been in. Thanks for asking. is the Manhattan helicopter that encircles the. It goes off to the Statue of Liberty and goes round and round the head, really quite close to the head.
That's a perilous one, I reckon.
And when you get off that, I mean, I honestly had the wobbly legs thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened to Liam.
Yeah, he could have had the wobbly legs getting off. I mean, see, he wouldn't admit that because he's a bit more sort of professionally male than I am.
I'm a bit frightened of them, and I was once offered a lift. I was at a yoga retreat in Rishikesh, and
Brilliant.
a gentleman came over, and
Was he in a linen suit?
he was actually in red trousers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. He had red trousers, and he was chatting to me over a fruit breakfast.
Okay.
And he said, would you like a lift back to Delhi? Not an offer you get every day.
No.
Nor is the next bit where he said, the heli's leaving at 3.
It's just about speaking in rhyme.
Heli.
Delhi and heli.
Oh, yeah. He should have spoken rhyme. What a fool.
I didn't. I was a bit frightened, and I think I was foolish enough to be honest with him. I said, I haven't been in a heli, and I'm a bit frightened of them. And I always remember what he said to me. It was the end of a beautiful thing. He said, suit yourself.
Oh,
Fair
okay.
enough.
Suit yourself.
Well, it's not like...
He channeled a bit of Liam Gallagher, didn't he? See yourself. You tell me, as you were.
It's a good story, though. Just for the actual details of it are
Do you think
very
he
fine.
was looking at your fruit breakfast and saying, would you like a lift to a deli?
Yeah. Fruit
just-
breakfast. Was there no Pernod?
I didn't like that suit yourself suggested I was somehow the high maintenance tricky customer.
Yeah.
I wasn't the one saying the heli's leaving at 3. Anyway, over to you, Frank Skinner.
I'm thinking of my other helicopter things now. When I went to Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, they helicopter you in as well. God, what life I used to lead. Now, I'm lucky if I get a off-peak bus pass to get somewhere.
Oh,
Last time I'd interviewed on the Zoe Ball show, I got the bus in. No car. No car available. So I'm just in case before you start hating me.
Real.
If your agent will have up on your website, will drive sell.
Well, yeah. No, I actually got the bus in. Yeah.
Lives near major bus routes is what's on there now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got to know. To be fair, the over 60s travel card is
And
ever at my side. Didn't cost me. But
Adventurous Nana.
I met a few on the bus. It was obviously rush. It's early morning, rush hour, Zoe Ball show. I'm there with several commuters, and they're going to their offices and stuff, and I'm on my way to be interviewed about my new stand-up tour on the Zoe Ball show. Yeah. Next, is it the Zoe Ball? No, next stop, sir.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We've been talking
Good.
about LG, as you were, Kiss.
Yeah.
I would like to draw your attention to another showbiz incident / near tragedy that was avoided. Feat Nicole Richie.
Oh, yes.
She posted a picture or a video, it was, up on her Instagram account of her celebrating her 40th birthday and blowing out the candles on her cake. I don't know if either of you caught this.
I did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, her hair certainly did. She's lean. We'll do the footballer's tense.
Yeah.
She's
leaned in.
She's leaned in. She's looked over the cake. Suddenly,
But it was that moment that you get on the video of her sort of, blowing the candles out. Ha ha, it's my birthday. And then the realisation that her hair's on fire.
the
It's
scream.
quite yeah. Happily, she has not been hurt, but it was... I'll tell you something I noticed. It's a rubbish cake for Nicole.
It was awful.
I'll tell you what, it was like it had been done at Snappy Snap. It wasn't like iced or anyway. It just had like a picture that had been somehow sort of, I don't know how they do it, but like it'd been colour photocopied onto the icing.
Exactly what-
Come on, it's Nicole Richie,
It
got a
looked
few
like-
bob.
Was it Olaf? It looked like it looked
what does that-
promotional. Olaf is from Frozen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, it was her as a child.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry if it was Olaf.
It was. I bet you the person that got the cake done got a couple of key rings, and a mouse mat with the same picture.
Maybe a nice T-shirt that rips on first wear.
Yeah, but it was. I thought that was. I really expected it overnight. So she's on fire, and I'm thinking that's a very poor cake.
Yeah.
Al, you can always tell because you're absolutely right, Frank. The icing looks impenetrable, doesn't it, on those cheap cakes?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I just thought, maybe the name Richie is putting the idea of rich into my mind, but she must have money.
Oh,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you can't.
I was quite. I felt respect to Munda that she was publicly celebrating turning 40. I don't see that as being something that sort of a beautiful celeb might do.
No, I respect her. I respect her for
I respected that.
I just thank God she wasn't hurt, because you don't want the last thing on earth that you see is a Snappy Snaps cake.
Also, you don't want the last thing you hear to be happy birthday, because, I mean, personally, I find that tune quite haunting at the best of times. But, but also, there's just something, I don't like it. I don't like the idea of everyone gathered round. That's literally the last thing you hear.
No, maybe. Well, anyway, it didn't. That didn't happen. She's all right.
She's fine. And
it says that her husband also saw the funny side. He used Richie's close friend Paris Hilton's catchphrase when he commented, "That's hot."
Yeah,
which I think he meant her head that was on fire.
What I
thought. I didn't know that was a catchphrase, but it's a funny thing if
Paris
he did
Hilton
it.
Always
well, no, there are two things about this. First of all, Paris Hilton has a catchphrase.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's something other than, can we do your room, please? Or would you like your blanket turning back? It is a bit of chocolate. But she's got a catchphrase, and also, it's that's hot. I mean, couldn't she use writers to come up with something? Here's your catchphrase, Paris. That's hot. Oh, that's brilliant. I look forward to using that. Okay, that's my Paris Hilton impression. What do you think?
It's good.
Yes, I think it's okay. The taps are so complicated. Why do you turn the shower into the tap water? Why does it look like Dr. Octopus? The bath sequence. It's too complicated, Dad. Get a simple one. Get a mixer tap. Just like her. I think you'll agree.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Hey, we've had a text.
Oh,
I'm
good.
sure it's not for us. It's from 559, and they've got a potty mouth, so I'm going to bleep a little bit out. But they've texted, "I've booked the taxi. Can't get through on your phone."
Sorry about
3
that.
kisses. I don't think
That could be
is
Zoe
for
Ball
us.
for me.
Although the kisses could be us.
Yes.
There's 3, so maybe it's 1 each. I don't know.
That's weird. I'll tell you an interesting fact about Nicole, Richie.
Oh, go on.
Oh yeah.
Do you know she got done for a DUI offence?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you've gone a bit American,
Yeah,
Frank.
I love the DUI,
Yeah.
driving under the influence offence, which obviously is very, very bad, and we don't approve of that. But when people get sentenced, you hear that they've got 9 years imprisonment for some terrible crime, and they say they'll probably serve about 4.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So she was sentenced to 4 days in prison, which I have never heard of. It's not worth sizing the outfit.
What are you going to
Yeah.
learn in that time?
4 days so sentenced to 4 days, and she served 82 minutes. What?
Not bad. I mean, that's just a long think, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. By the time you've gone in and settled down in there,
There's a toilet break.
yeah, you haven't had time to rattle the metal tin up and down the bars.
Haven't had time to put the pyjamas on with the arrows.
No,
Can I say?
Get beaten up. She didn't even get beaten up.
nothing. Well, she might have, but it was brisk.
Driving under the influence, at least that makes some grammatical sense. It's
Yeah.
infinitely preferable to drink driving.
Yes, which is.
So I'm afraid, that it's a...
But it's all bad. We're obviously.
Of course it's
let's make that
bad.
clear.
Oh,
It's
it is
very,
bad.
very bad.
I once saw drink driving happening simultaneously. Somebody driving, as I was driving back from Liverpool, I passed somebody that was drinking Beck's at the wheel.
Oh.
I mean, that is right
Come
out
on,
of order,
guys.
isn't
Sort
it? Right
yourselves
out
out.
of order.
Her husband, Nicole Richie, is of course the lead singer of Good Charlotte.
Oh, yes.
Are you familiar
Is
with
he?
them?
I'm sort of. I can't say I
not
couldn't
really
rattle
familiar
off
with
any
Nicole
Good
Richie.
Charlotte.
Eyeliner, naughties.
Okay.
Does that sum it up for you? Emo. He's emo, Frank. He's one of the emo ones.
Eyeliner is naughty.
No, eyeliner, naughties. He's emo. So his post, I thought, I don't know though, when he said that, what did he say? That's hot. That's not very supportive. I mean, if I'd have had an incident like that, I'd want my partner to say, I'm so glad you're okay, we love you. I don't want to make a joke and a fire emoji.
You'd
See,
think
that would be insincere, I think. I think real love is when, he goes, I'm going to make a joke about this. Surely.
Alan Cochrane on Real Love there.
I'm surprised. When I watched her lean forward and her hair drop, I thought all my instincts would have been to hold my hair back if I'm leaning over candles.
Yeah.
This is one of the things about weddings that are a bit annoying. When being sick with a tie on, you have to
No.
hold the
No,
tie.
it's never happened to me, but I like it. No, come on, Frank.
No, well,
I
that's it. I mean, it's difficult, and this is the trouble with getting drunk on formal occasions. Just a
Frank,
little tip there.
we've been sent a lovely picture of Mrs. Mills. There's a Twitter account called Time for Mrs. Mills. It's called A Regular Reminder of the Joy of Mrs. Mills.
All right.
And we've been sent a link, a solo piano player, but never alone, Frank, on the radio. Here playing something bright and jolly for Morecambe and Wise. We've been sent a link. Oh, it's lovely. And it's got examples. I'll be listening to this later. Clip from Mrs. Mills on Morecambe and Wise 1971, playing a melody of pop songs, including Ain't That a Grand and Glorious Feeling. Yes, sir, that's my baby.
Before before we get correcciones, you said a melody of pop songs,
Yes.
not a medley. Should be a medley.
Oh, I'm sorry, they've written a melody. I was
Okay, I'm just
reading what
establishing,
it's
establishing it wasn't.
Autocorrect getting in the way of that,
Yes.
isn't it?
Oh yeah,
exactly
probably
right.
is. I think my closest thing to a celebrity hair fire thing is I used to. I for a few months I hung out. Me and David Baddiel used to hang out with Peter Cook, the comedian, and he smoked continually cigarettes, and he had grey hair in a quiff, and the quiff was yellow because the smoke constantly passed through it.
That's gross.
I thought it was fabulous. It looked. I grew up when everyone had like two orangey yellow fingers. They're smoking fingers. Everybody had those. So yeah, he'd taken it a step further with the yellow tobacco quiff. Little showbiz reminiscences there of the great satirist. Oh well, look. You know what? The time is up. It's been a ball. We had a ball. This time last week, I actually apologised for my performance on the show. This
you?
week it's better. I still feel bad about it. But this week, it's been all right, so that's good. And thanks for listening. You know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.